Welcome to the Actors Studio of Cape Cod. I'm your host, Kevin Lassett, and I'm also the instructor for the ongoing acting, film and TV acting classes and screenwriting seminars that are taking place right here in beautiful Sandwich, Cape Cod. At the end of the show, I will be giving out my email address and website address, so if anyone has any questions about how to register for my classes, you can just drop me a note. I love entertainment. I love the film industry. I love going to the movies, watching TV, not so much reality TV these days, but I love episodic television, commercials, and sitcoms, and I love actors. I love the process an actor goes through to create an authentic moment of truth. And I love to talk to actors about their process. So I've invited two professional actors to share with you their process, their passion, and their insights of pursuing a professional career in the industry. I have two actors that are starring currently in the movie brought to you by Paramount Pictures called The Fighter, starring Mark Wahlberg, Kristen Bale, Melissa Leo, and Amy Adams. I have two of the crazy seven sisters. They're not so crazy, they're quite lovely, and I'd love to introduce you to them right now. We have Erica McDermott. She's a former student of mine. She's taken Commercial 1, Commercial 2, and the Dramatic Interpretation class, and I'm just so proud of where you are now.
Thank you very much.
And we also have Katie O'Brien. So thank you, two lovely ladies, for joining me today. We'll get to The Fighter in a moment, but what I'd like to do is start in the beginning. What was the catalyst for the both of you to get started in this career path and pursuing a career in acting?
For me, it's something I just fell into. I was working at a school teaching special ed, and a woman who has a son who goes to that school said, "You seem like the perfect crazy fanatic Bruins Irish Catholic Southie person."
Okay.
So I had a look and kind of a madness about me that she had seen, she thought would be good for that commercial, which was shot in Lowell at the Songus Arena. And then later, I was fortunate enough to get the part in The Fighter as Phyllis Beaver Eklund. And that was also in Lowell. So basically, I'm an actress who works exclusively out of Lowell, Mass.
Yes, well, keeping it local.
Yeah.
I love it.
Keeping it real.
Well, and when was that first audition for you?
The Bruins commercial?
Yeah, when was that? How long, what was the time frame?
It was about 3 years before.
The Fighter.
2 or 3 years before The Fighter.
For me, I was doing a show in my hometown of Scituate called Monologues. There's a director named Lisa Rafferty in my hometown who has a very successful stage show called Monologues. And she wanted to bring the show to town to raise money for schools. Mm-hmm. And they were looking for some local funny moms to go up on stage and present her work. And my name came up. Everybody in town thought I'd do a great job, so I said I would do it. And when I did the Monologue show, I loved it. I was bit with the acting bug, mm-hmm. and knew that I like to describe it as I felt like I lived life with an itchy back, and someone finally scratched it for the first time after I did that. Analogy. And then I came down here to Plymouth and started some acting classes with you.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of my story.
That's just amazing, and now look where you are. That's just incredible. Now talk about the audition moment. What was that like to go to the audition? Can you talk about the process of the audition for The Fighter, what the casting director put you through? Kind of give our viewers the atmosphere. What was that like?
Kate and I didn't have our first audition together. We met at the very final stages. So for me, my first audition, it was a crazy day. There were lots and lots and lots of people there, long lines.
Yeah, cattle call.
Yes, and at that point, I was just auditioning for background. And they were looking for tough girls. That's what drew me in. I said, well, I don't know how tough I can be, so let me put on my black t-shirt and a pair of jeans and go give it a shot. Yeah. And using a lot of the skills that you taught me, how to prepare for my audition helped. And I got called in with about 30 people, and I took a risk, And when the casting director got to me, I started swearing at her because she thought that I looked too pretty or too innocent. She didn't think that I had it in me to do what she needed me to do to be tough. And that was my first call back.
That's wonderful. Now, I want to just touch on that real quick because I'm really big on creating atmosphere, as you know.
Yep.
And what we do as actors, it's all about creating atmosphere and being really in the moment. And sometimes casting directors, like you just articulated, can't really picture you in that role.
Yep.
So it's up to you as an actor to show them otherwise. And I just love your story because it really demonstrates that you changed and shifted the atmosphere in that audition room. So the casting director had no choice but to stop in our tracks and kind of do another take on you and say, wait a minute, did I miss something here? And that just changed the course of your life.
It
So
really did.
Kudos to you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was your process like for the audition? Because I don't know your story of how you got there.
I had about 4 or 5 auditions, and the same thing initially, a cattle call. And then eventually with each round, I felt more pressure and more excitement.
Yeah.
There is that sort of American Idol feel to it, that
yes.
you're getting closer to something, but maybe not. But it could work out, but maybe not.
Yeah.
And so that was just something that I never got used to.
Yeah.
Just an excitement and a real sense of just giving it your all.
Can you talk about what you did as an artist to kind of calm their nerves down? Because I can imagine, you know, if I were in that situation, the emotional roller coaster that comes with that, and you can kind of project into all the what ifs, like what if I got this? And
a lot of slow breathing.
yeah, okay, good.
That's the main
Nice.
thing that that helped calm me down, and just meeting some of the people. You would think, you know, that's the competition. I don't want to talk to them, but
Yeah.
being nervous and just finding a few friendly people to chat with while you wait in the hallway
Yeah.
of purgatory to see what's going to happen. So basically, just breathing slowly and trying to be myself.
Great.
And I'm not shy about talking to people.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important that you talk about the breath for an actor and the relaxation, because again, when we are acting, you know, it's our job to appear natural and relaxed in a very unnatural, relaxed situation. It's all an illusion, and it's make-believe and pretend. When it's supposed to be an intimate scene between you and another character, when in fact there could be 30 people around behind the camera holding equipment or by the craft service tables munching on some M&Ms or peanuts or whatever.
True.
You know, so and it's just so hard to maintain that concentration. So it's just so great to see that you're athletes of the heart and you were able to calm the instrument down so you could be so focused to shift the atmosphere to get that role. Well, not just get the role, but get several callbacks, and then which led to the role. Now talk about that phone call. What was that like to receive that phone call of getting the job in a major motion picture by Paramount Pictures?
For me, I acted really cool on the phone and then cried very hard after I hung up. I said, oh yeah, really, you want me to be Tar Eklund? Okay, yeah, no, that sounds great. Thanks so much. That's really exciting. And then I hung the phone up and cried like a baby. And that's what I did. Because I just, it was trying to breathe and maintain composure and be
Exactly.
grateful and thankful.
Yeah.
And still, for me, this was my first movie, so I didn't know, maybe they were going to call me back the next day and say, I'm sorry, you know what, we decided we were going to go with somebody else.
Yeah, it didn't seem quite real until you were probably on set, right?
Right, I
Or
was
in makeup.
cautiously optimistic from that point on until I started filming.
Wow. Yeah. And what about you, Katie?
I was just like Erica. I was extremely excited, but also this difficulty wrapping your mind around it, that this is really happening. You did just win the lottery.
Yes.
And that's the expression that my dad used when he heard about it, and just really being overwhelmed and excited.
Nice.
Really, really, really excited.
Yeah, to win the lottery. You know, it's we train, we take our craft so seriously as actors. We'll train, and some even go to college and get a degree in acting and whatnot. And then, the life of an actor is one day you're auditioning for Trix cereal or Listerine, and then other days you go in and audition for something like The Fighters. So you have to really be frosty, really be alert, and be a shapeshifter to make those changes, because one day you're auditioning for something so zany and crazy, and then you go in for like a tough chick,
Yes.
Talk about the first day on the set. What was that like? What was going on in your mind when you went and saw your honey wagon, and
I know.
and what was the first scene that they shot? So take us and the viewers to that whole first day.
The first day for me might have been the quietest I've ever been in my life. I don't think I went in with big guns. I was excited. I was nervous. And I knew that our first scene was going to be in the gym, the first scene where you see us sitting in the chairs in the gym, and my hair's a mess. And
it was lovely.
It was a lovely day.
Are you kidding?
It was a lovely day.
All you sisters are going to bring that look back. I just know it.
I
It's just
hope
a matter of
so.
time.
I know.
Yeah.
If Aquanet would like us to do a commercial for them, we certainly would. But yeah, the first day was great. I mean, it was a huge acting class for me.
Yes.
I mean, I'm with top-notch actors and actresses, and
A-listers.
David O. Russell, and I just sat there and listened and listened and watched and paid attention and listened, and that was, for me, that was the big thing. And even when they said, this is where you're going to keep your stuff, and they showed us to our trailer, I'm like, is it going to be safe? Is it okay if I leave it here? Really, does it really matter? Am I sharing it with are all 6 of us going in there? Like, I really didn't know, but it was unusually comfortable also. I don't know about you, but we had all the sisters had met at that point.
Yeah.
So I felt, I didn't feel alone. And that was the other thing, is that we were all together, even sitting in silence. It was comfortable to go through this with other girls.
Yeah, with your sisters.
And it was funny also that nobody took advantage of their own little crib, their own little trailer to hang out, and we all just came out and hung out on this. What are you doing? What are you doing? Let's sit on the stairs and talk.
Or we called it a stoop.
Yeah. We
Let's sit
sat
on
on
the
our
stoop.
stoops of our little apartments, and
And it was great.
yeah. So we were always hanging out. We did a lot of talking and eating and
Joking.
Yeah.
a lot of joking.
Yeah.
around
Well,
together.
that work off camera is evident on the work that gets captured for the film, because you do, and I think that's why you're getting so much praise, and and in addition to your amazing skills as actresses, but the camaraderie, the sisterhood that you created was just so organic. It's hard to ignore that. And I think a lot of that, what you were doing behind the scenes, bonding together, hanging out together, commiserating together, being excited together, whatever it may be, it just landed really great impact for the camera when the cameras start rolling.
Another thing that we thought was very important is that none of us were the biggest.
Yeah.
We were all kind of the same, and yet we chose different ways to behave, so we didn't come across as a flat group of tough girls, and I think that also showed, and that's what made us real, is that there wasn't like a lead sister,
Yeah.
or there wasn't someone who shined more than the other.
Yeah.
We really all supported each other just like real sisters would.
Well, I think that's important with ensemble work, because if anyone would have done that, it would have changed the dynamics of it. But it was just beautiful to watch, because you were just like a force to be reckoned with. Not just one, but all 7.
And that was our goal, so
Yeah.
it worked.
Yeah.
So the first scene was the scene in the gym when he's sparring.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the first day
That
on
was
the
our
set.
first scene, and then after that we bounced around all over the place.
Okay,
But that was our first scene.
nice. Now talk about working with a director such as David O. Russell. What kind of direction did he articulate to you? Is he big on improvisation? Did you stick to the script more or less, or was it kind of free-flowing?
He's an amazing director, and initially he allowed us to see the footage and get our own concept of who the sisters were. We watched a video of them all together,
Interesting.
which is different from seeing one sister, just to see how they interact. And then, so there are certain notes you had about your character, but we did stick to the script, and he did allow for us to just kind of ad-lib things.
Nice.
Here and there. The process was just fascinating and very lively. It wasn't just words on a page.
Yeah.
And he really did encourage us to do as much background research as we could on the sisters,
Okay.
so we could make the choices so we didn't come across flat.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool, where he would say, see, look at what she found out. Look what she found out about, we didn't know that until she went and found it, and now we know. And
Great.
and it's a true story, so you want to stay, you need to make the writers happy, you need to make the director happy, you need to stick to the story, the family was on set. I mean, there was a lot of juggling going on, and that was challenging.
Yeah.
And there was also the people of Lowell who would come up all the time and give you advice on what the actual sister would be wearing, or if perchance you were standing a particular way, that's the way she stood sometimes.
Wow.
And so you're constantly getting information from different sources.
Yeah.
About how to play it.
Because those are their people. That's
Yeah.
their community, and they love them. And so that's just great. You were getting direction and insight from the community of Lowell.
Exactly. And the family would come in sometimes, and like nieces or nephews or cousins would come in with an uncle and say, okay, name which sister's who. And they would say, that's that one, that one, that one, and that one, and that one, and they would get it right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single time they would know who was who.
That's fascinating. Now, did the sisters visit the set every day? What was that like? Was it intimidating for them to have the real people watching your interpretation of them?
I wouldn't say intimidating, I would say challenging, just because you had so many people to make happy.
Yeah.
But David or Russell really did a great job balancing all of that, making us feel comfortable and being able to bring the character, bring the trueness to the story. So it was a challenge at times, but definitely not intimidating at all. They're
Talk
a great
about
family.
some surprises from this incredible opportunity, something just unexpected that you just have been just so blown away by. I'm sure there are countless
There are so
surprises.
many.
I had a nice bit of advice from Christian Bale.
Yeah?
A little scene was going on, and I asked him, along with breathing and other things, that how do you keep your positive energy? I have to do this thing, and his big advice was don't sweat it. So
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it was a little surprise to get some advice from Christian Bale on
Wow.
to calm down.
I definitely have my surprise was how incredible Melissa Leo was to us. Again, going back to this is my first film, she will always have a motherly role to me and to all of us.
Yeah.
And she really taught us how to behave, taught us how to, she got up on that stage at the SAG Awards
Oh, yeah.
and took that moment out of her award speech.
Yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
To recognize us.
Thank you.
That was a great shout out.
It was,
That was a
it was
wonderful moment.
selfless.
Oh my God. Thanks, Dick. I'm much better when I have my words written for me and somebody's costumes to put on, like Mark Bridges' beautiful outfits, but when he showed them to me on the hanger, boy, I thought, I don't think so. This has been an extraordinary season for me. I am so proud to be a part of The Fighter. I'm here tonight with 6 of the 7 girls that played my daughters in the film. I couldn't be here with all y'all actors and not bring them along, right? Thank you, girls. Thank you for helping me get a man I can bring home with me tonight.
Yeah.
And that is something that a mother would do.
Yeah.
And for her to recognize us in that way was just a huge surprise, and I'll never forget it. And I feel like working with her during her best performance,
Yeah.
and to teach us and to take us under her wing.
And her growth, too, as an actress has just been so amazing. She did phenomenal work in Frozen River, of course.
Oh, that's- yeah.
But then the transformation to playing this mother, I mean, the physicality choices were just so unique.
Yes.
And to this character, you know, very much like Kristen Bale's transformation. You know, when the camera starts and the first shot goes up, I mean, his physicality, his movement was just so organic. And then getting back to you sisters, I mean, talk about organic choices. I mean, when the camera hits you guys, it's like a beautiful train wreck. You know what I mean? But you play it so well. So just thank you for bringing that truth to the screen. There's a moment I want to talk about, and it's the scene where you're watching the Addicted to Crack special on HBO. And it's the scene that it's a shot that focuses with you and the mother, and you're in tears. So I wanted to ask you the framework of that scene. How long did it take to prep the scene, to get the lights in the right place? And then what were you doing as an actor, an athlete of the heart, to prepare for that moment when they said action, that the tears were there? What was that like?
Working with Melissa Leo was big help.
Yeah.
She was in the moment, which brought me into the moment. I don't think we shot that scene a ton of times. I think everybody, if the camera were to come back, you would have seen all of us crying. I really just brought myself to a place that I was sitting next to my mother. There was nothing on the television for us to watch, but I just really just imagined what would happen. How would she feel? And the tears just, I mean, they just came.
Yeah.
I was honestly in that moment, and I felt like I was watching it, even though there was nothing in front of me.
Yeah, now that, I just got to give a shout out to that, because a lot of people watching this show, they don't understand, you know, the intricacies of making a movie, because of course that would mess up the sound if they had an actual, you know, clip of the HBO special going on. So it's just a TV prop.
Yep.
And then they put it in later.
Yes.
So talk about the athlete of the heart and the focus and concentration it takes for an actor to get themselves in that emotional state to release. So you've obviously, not just you, and of course you never know what's going to hit in the editing, but it's just so great to see that the ensemble, like you said, they were all in tears in that moment. And you felt safe enough.
It felt very, very real. Even though I was focused on that TV, focused on listening to what my mother was saying on the phone, her performance was so real that it felt real to me. And then the more real it felt to me, I could hear my sisters sniffing, you know, in the room, and it just, it felt like we were really watching it, and we were having like a moment within our family.
Yeah.
And it was very, I don't want to say it was easy for the tears to come, but they just came.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
It's all about creating that atmosphere, and well done.
Thank
well done.
you.
I love that scene. There's a real nice moment with you, many moments with you, Katie, as well. And there's one funny one I love at the end of the movie, at the fight. You reach up to go high five, and you don't quite connect.
Was it to
that.
me or to
I
who?
forget what other sister
it was with Red Dog.
Yeah, was it?
And yeah, that's...
You miss.
But you know what, though? I love
my
that
perfect
kind of
shot, yeah.
But I love that kind of stuff, and I think the reason why David O. Russell chose to keep that in, because my question to you was that planned, or was that a real miss?
That was a real miss.
A real miss, okay. Because here's the thing, directors and editors love that kind of stuff because that's real life. You know, and that's the job of an artist, is to create reality. And sometimes we can be over-rehearsed, or it can look too perfect. But when you find those imperfections, because let's get down right to it, this whole thing about entertainment is about imperfections.
Right.
And I just thought that was a beautiful moment, because, you know, it was such an exciting moment in the movie, because he won, he kicked butt, and their lives are beautiful for a moment, and then you go up for the high five, and then it's just like, yeah, and I laughed in the theater. It was like, that's beautiful.
That was not the plan.
Yeah, so do more of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
What I'd like to do right now is show the viewers a scene from The Fighter. And Paramount Pictures has been gracious enough to donate a clip. So we're going to watch a scene, and I'll set it up for you. It's the scene where you meet Amy Adams for the very first time. And so we're going to watch that and then talk a little bit more about their process in this amazing movie by Paramount Pictures called The Fighter. So here we go.
Mick, what's the problem?
The problems.
What problems?
What's wrong?
Problems.
Like what?
Like maybe you not showing up on time to train?
Like maybe him having to come find you in a crack house when you're supposed to be at the airport.
I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. Why are you talking?
I'm Charlene. We just met. We're together. Do we need to do this again? Hi, I'm Charlene.
Hi, I'm Charlene.
Hey, we're together.
What are you gonna do, Mick? Listen, some MTV girl works in a bar? What's she know about boxing?
I know. They're going to Vegas and getting paid to train year round. Sounds a hell of a lot better than what you got him doing here.
You gonna let her talk like that to your mother?
Come on, Mickey.
I told you, we're together. This is my girlfriend. I want her here.
I have done everything. Everything I could for you, Mickey. This MTV girl comes along.
Yeah, stop calling me an MTV girl, whatever that means.
Wild.
All right. So I want to read you one of many quotes from the amazing press that you've been getting as an ensemble. This one is from monstersandcritics.com, and here's the quote. The sisters make a howlingly hilarious beer-soaked Irish chorus that appears capable of reducing the most complex interpersonal relationships, single-syllable grunts. So this is one of many in publications, global publications that are hitting the newsstands. What does that feel like to open up a magazine and read about your work and that it's landing?
It's incredible. It just validates that we made the right choices. That all the background work that we did, all the meetings that we had together, and that the choices we made.
That
were
it
right.
paid off.
Paid off in the end.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this scene. You know, it's taking place in a living room. You're on the sofa or you're on the ground, and you're in close proximity to some heavyweights. And you talked already briefly about it's like an acting class, but what was it like to sit there and watch them go through their process?
That specific day, that specific scene was the time that the whole family was together. Mother, father, brothers, all the sisters, and Charlene. It was a very small living room. It was real. It was in a real house. They had a smoke machine pouring smoke in. There was a ton of crew. And that specific scene was the day that I really knew that this was going to be outstanding.
Yeah.
Because everybody's characters really came through. You could see that Charlene wasn't afraid. You could see Mark wasn't happy, or Mickey wasn't happy. You could see the mother. You could even see my father saying, give him a second to talk.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're all there as sisters just watching the whole thing go down. And none of us would open our mouths. Just like a real family. The kids wouldn't say anything.
What was that like for you to sit there and watch, Christian Bale and Mark Wahlberg and Amy Adams go at it, and Melissa Leo?
Tense.
Yeah.
And intense. I come from a big family. I'm one of 6. So there's kind of Venus, Serena back and forth thing that goes on. You're watching what's happening, and it's just amazing. I also had an idea at the end of that scene because David O. Russell said, what could we do? How would the sisters react? And being from a big family, I thought, well, the first thing you would do is make fun of the person. So I pitched the, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Charlene. Because
That was Kate's idea.
yeah.
He liked it.
So
That's
I mean, he did allow for some improv, and that's from the O'Brien family playbook. That's what we would do, is just make fun of the person.
Yeah, just kind of dig in there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go
nice.
for it.
That was a good choice. Good choice. I love this scene too, because it's, I write screenplays as well, and it's such a well-written scene. And at the point of the hero's journey, it's the point where the hero has got to make a choice. Do I stay with this, do I give him another chance, or do I venture off on my own? And it's just so full of tension. And the ensemble of the sisters, you add so much to that tension. And for me, it's never about the quantity of scenes that someone's in. It's what you do with your screen time that counts. And even if you're in just a few select scenes, I come from the school of if you're doing your work right and you're playing truth, it's going to land and people are going to remember it. So kudos to you all.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Just
lot.
for that
Christian
amazing
stayed
moment.
in character the whole time that we filmed.
Yeah, talk about that.
Well,
What was
he
that?
stayed in character all the time. Like, we didn't meet Christian until December during the premiere of the movie, and even then.
So even lunch and dinner and whatnot,
Always.
he's in
Boston
character.
accent. I never knew he was from Wales just from talking with him.
Wow.
He was in character all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And then we stayed in character all the time, and Melissa Leo stayed in character all the time. We really, that living room scene, we were in character the whole time, and we really didn't know where the cameras were going to be. So I didn't know if you would see me. I didn't know that they were filming me on the sofa at the beginning. But as an actor, my job was to make Amy Adams as uncomfortable as possible. And when I saw the movie for the first time, I almost died that I was sitting on the couch just staring at her. I didn't even know the camera was on me.
Yeah, I
so
love
that was, going back to your surprise question, that was a huge surprise.
Yeah, I love that because I also believe that when you're on a set, whether it's television or a motion picture, your job is to ignore the camera. You shouldn't be aware of the camera because you're connected to the truth, you're connected to the moment, and if you are, you're really building on atmosphere and shifting that energy. And so it's great to hear that you were really, laying down on your technique to just ignore it and just be in the moment, and your intention was to make her uncomfortable, for
Yeah.
all of you. And another scene I want to talk about is the kitchen scene with the throwing of the pots and pans and whatnot.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was an explosion of dysfunction. Set it up for us. How long did it take to set it up? How many shots? How many hours did it take to do that? Were they real pots and pans or were they prop ones made out of foam? Do you even know?
I know that when they were filming Melissa and Jack, we had to do this.
Yeah.
And then when it was our turn, we could come down. But I mean, there were rubber part pieces as well.
And the dishes, I think, were made out of soap or something.
Yeah.
So, whack, it could fly across the room. I got a little cut that didn't require any medical attention. It hasn't yet. But, so that there was an element of danger with the pots and pans were hilarious because those were just rubber. So it was fun to just crack sisters over the head.
And then they add the effects in later.
Yeah. But it was, again, as Erica said, it was a real house. It was a small space, and then all the cast and crew and everyone involved, and the stuff was flying.
Yeah. And how long did it take to film that scene? Because I know they film it from multiple angles.
It didn't seem like
It
that
didn't
long.
seem like that long. Half day maybe.
Yeah. Well, I know Clint Eastwood, when he films, he's a three-take wonder. If you don't get it in 3 shots, he'll come up to you and say, this is what I've heard. I never worked with him, but he'll say, "What's the problem? I got a lot of other things to shoot right now. Let's get it." So David O. Russell, that's a horrible imitation of it.
No, it was good. It was good. We were there.
I was with you. I was
We're in
feeling it.
Reno.
But thank you. But David O. Russell, his directing abilities, and then plus the power hitters that are playing that scene, it's not surprising a scene like that would only take about a half day because they can get it.
Yep.
They can, and then the camera's there to capture just the beautiful dysfunction of it all.
And you can see that the sisters are split.
Yeah.
I'm on the side. Kate and I are on different sides during this fight. I'm on the side where I think Mickey should stay with his mother. You keep it in the family. We're loyal. You don't go outside the family.
Yeah.
Kate is on which side?
Well, I'm in Eklund. It's complicated for me, but I work with a father as a roofer, so I'm kind of torn, and then I'm not sure what is best for Mickey, but I know that Dickie's not an option anymore, so turn my back on it.
It's just so beautiful to hear, the process that you put into it and all the work. Because I believe that the more specific information an actor has, the more intelligent choices they can make, and the camera's going to love you for that. Can you talk about the premiere? What was that like, being invited to the premiere, seeing it for the first time, walking the red carpet, talking to the press.
We stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel and
In California.
In California, in Hollywood. And I woke up at 7:30 in the morning. My adrenaline was high. And we walked outside of the hotel to go get a coffee. And already at 8 in the morning, there had to have been 50 to 100 people putting together the red carpet. Wow. And it stretched from the Chinese theater all the way down. I mean, it was long. And watching that be built all day just added to my excitement. And I would go over and take pictures, and my husband was taking video, and it was, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And then to see how far away the beginning of the red carpet was and how big my heels were. How am I getting down there? How am I going to get down there? But it was exciting. It felt to me like Christmas morning. I felt like a kid at the top of the stairs. I knew Santa came, and I just can't wait to see what he brought, because I had not seen the movie before that. You hadn't either.
No.
We were the only two sisters who hadn't seen it at that
Wow,
point.
what a
Everybody
gift.
else had already seen it.
Amazing.
So to go into that huge theater and be able to look around that theater and notice other actors and actresses who came to support Mark and Christian and Paramount Pictures and
Well, it's the party
everybody.
of all parties.
Unbelievable.
It was really
Unbelievable.
cool for me too, because my date was my sister Jane, who lives in San Fran. So she ditched her family for a little bit and had a little vacation with me. So
Nice.
the sisters seeing the sisters was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about who you saw at the premiere. Did you, what kind of, because I know a lot of Hollywood hitters are there. These-
Luke Skywalker.
Mark Hamill
Mark
was one of our
Hamill,
biggest
yes.
fans. I was so excited. He was so excited to meet us. We were so excited to meet him.
Yeah.
Francis Fisher.
Tia Carrera.
Yep, a lot of the housewives from that show. Who else? Lots of people. I don't even know, the writers.
Gosh.
Yeah.
A lot of
What was
people.
going through your mind walking the red carpet? I mean, it must have been a surreal experience.
Well, our choice was to stay together as a gaggle because we look so different than our real characters that
Yeah.
if we walked together, people would recognize us as the sisters,
Yeah,
which I
smart
think
choice.
was a smart
Yeah.
decision. And Paramount guided us in that direction as well. So
Yeah.
it was wonderful, and it was, having that many pictures taken, having that many interviews. Together as a group, we learned a lot from that night because no one really knew our names, so the microphone would just come out and we would just jump in.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience, memorable.
Okay, let's jump to the SAG Awards now. So, you come off that incredible, well, here's the thing. Let me just give the viewers some framework. To get into a movie is quite a feat in itself, or even a TV show. To get any work, that's our goal as an actor, is to get work. So, not only are you in a movie, you're in an award-winning movie, a nominated movie for the Oscars as well, and then you go to a premiere, and then you're invited as an ensemble to be guest at the SAG Awards. So it's like all these gifts just keep coming, So talk about the SAG Awards. What was that like?
Oh, wow.
I mean, in my opinion, it's right up there with the Oscars because it's for actors, by the actors. So talk about that. What was that like?
It was so cool. I got to hug Betty White.
Oh, my God.
She was,
Oh.
she's been with me every time I had a cold and I was sick at home. And there you are.
For me, the really cool thing
Yeah.
is how many other actors that were there who knew exactly who we were.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that to me was definitely one of the coolest things, along with Melissa noting us in her acceptance speech,
Which was
beautiful.
crazy
which was
cool.
crazy
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, to be around all of these people that I've watched over the years, newer shows, older shows, it was just really great.
Yeah, well, it's being in a major motion picture, and then, like I said, an award-winning motion picture, a nominated picture, and Paramount Pictures is behind it. I mean, it's a great icebreaker. And here's the thing: you're part of that community, so that's that respect. So it's just great to hear that you were able to go to attend. What did they feed you for dinner? What was
Super fancy meat.
fancy food. It was
Yes.
very gourmet. It was like lamb and veal and salmon and
Yeah.
very fancy, beautiful food. Of course, none of us felt like eating.
Oh,
but
of course not.
But
Yeah.
we tried. But we tried.
I'd be looking around.
I was more worried it was going to spill on my dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we had, some of us had borrowed gear and dresses and bling, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baubles.
You don't want to
Yeah, you
damage
don't
it
wanna-
all. Yeah.
The most amazing part of the SAG Awards, I think, one of the things that I will always remember is to hear how people complimented each and every one of us in our character acting,
Yeah.
because we're so different than we were in the movie. And
Yeah.
to me, that was the biggest compliment that I could have received.
Mm-hmm.
Is wow, that was amazing, and you look so different. And you don't even talk like that. You don't look like that. And all of us, each and every one of us, heard that, and we met Quentin Tarantino. That was a
Oh,
huge
wonderful.
moment.
Yeah, I saw the picture on Facebook.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he was a big fan of the sisters, and he got it, and he took a ton of time to talk to us about the different, styles of acting that we had, and to compliment us, and that was incredible.
Yeah, wonderful. What was it like to get the program? Because I know they give out programs, right? Are you listed in the program for the ensemble, or?
I think it just said cast ensemble.
Cast ensemble, but in the Hollywood Reporter this week,
Yeah.
the writers are up for best screenplay.
Oh, good for them.
And there's a huge thing in the Hollywood Reporter, and on the top has all the photos to go with the scenes underneath. And there's a really cool picture of us when we got out of the car. I don't even know if you've seen it yet. I'll
No,
have
I
to show
haven't,
you.
yeah.
We got out of the car. It's a still I've never seen before.
Nice.
And that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, talk about how you're navigating through all this incredible opportunity of exposure, and talk about other opportunities that may have presented themselves from this amazing opportunity.
So far for me, I've been enjoying the acting gig that we've had, and I'm also still busy with teaching special ed in Cambridge. So there's a little duality now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the future holds, but I would really like to come take some of your classes
Oh, it'd be great to have you.
and pursue what I can in terms of acting.
Yeah, yeah. And what about you? How are you navigating through all this?
Right now, I feel like an incredible opportunity was presented to me. And like Kate had said earlier, I feel like I hit the lottery. So my goal right now is to do everything that I can to further, get more work, further my career, because 10 years from now, I want to look back and say I did everything I could.
Yeah.
10 years from now, I could be, working full-time as an actor, or, you never know. But I have lots of auditions. I had lots of auditions this past week for different pilots, which you've been so gracious to help me with.
Yeah, well, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
and
sure.
talk about how you got hooked up with the talent agency as well.
Oh, yes. Finding an agent and a manager was something that was one of my goals here over the past couple of months. I wanted to kind of strike while the iron was hot.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of agencies to choose from. And it's kind of hard to just send out packages or to make cold calls. So after that didn't work out for a while, I decided that I wasn't going to talk to strangers anymore. I wanted a connection through somebody, so I knew that I would be getting someone who was kind, someone who would have my back,
Yeah.
type of thing. And a friend of mine in Situate, who wasn't even aware her husband is in the industry in some way. We were at a kid's birthday party together. She said, "What are you going to do from here?" And I said, "My God, I've just been invited to the SAG Awards, and now I need to get representation, and I don't know what to do." She said, "Oh, I know some people out in California. Why don't I, throw your name around and see what happens?" And she ended up hooking me up with Bressler Kelly and Associates. That's a boutique agency out in LA.
Yes.
And after several phone calls and after lots of discussions, when I was out for the SAG Awards, I went over and met with them, and we hit it off, and I signed with them.
That's wonderful.
And they represent less than 20 people.
Yeah, they're really exclusive.
Yay.
Is it for a year contract?
Indefinite.
Indefinite. Wonderful. God bless
Yeah,
you, dear.
thank you. So they've had me busy.
One thing that when Erica had this amazing opportunity, we had spoken after you wrapped, and
Yeah.
I said to you on the phone, you really have to plan your tsunami of opportunity, because this is going to be publicized, and you have to, it's all about timing. It's all about riding the wave so you can continue the all the amazing opportunities. And it's just so great to see that you're out there just plugging away and just making it happen, because one opportunity it's a great thing, but you really have to use that to make other jobs happen, because it's such a competitive industry to be involved in. Talk about a little bit about the auditions that you've had.
I have now had 8 auditions for 8 different pilots. Some of them are for ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. They're quality, they're great, they're really funny, and they're all for really good recurring roles, whether they're lead or second lead parts. So it's been interesting. All of my auditions have been done on tape. I was submitted and asked to read for them. And from my understanding, it's not a huge group of people that are reading for these. It's, it's not like the cattle call that I first went on. So my goal right now is to stand out, make great choices, and make the casting directors remember me, just like you taught me.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say to both of you to just God bless you both on your journey.
Thank you.
I wish you the continued success, of course.
Thank you so
in
much.
what you're doing. Please know that what you're doing is an amazing inspiration for all the actors and artists in the state of Massachusetts. You are the ambassadors for what we do. And so just keep holding that torch and keep going.
Thank you.
Getting out there. Do you have any words of wisdom for our viewers out there that might be kind of on the fence of whether or not to pursue a career in acting? What would you say to them?
Breathe.
Yes, breathe, and remember that any audition, every second of every audition counts.
Yes.
Even when you're sitting in the hallway, even when the minute your hand goes on the doorknob to enter a casting agency, that's when your audition begins. And as you start doing this, you start recognizing people, and you want to chit chat and, hey, how's it going, and what have you been working on? But you really need to be in the moment.
Yes.
You need to be in the moment. You need to know the character that you're auditioning for, and you need to get into that character. Because it'll show. If you're scattered and you're not prepared, and you go in and you don't make the right choices or take the right risks, and that's your loss of a moment that you could have stood out.
Yeah, these auditions, as you
that's
know,
I think that's good. That's good, girl.
All right.
that works. As you both know, these auditions go by in a heartbeat. So, you live in your area, you go into Boston or Rhode Island for these auditions, and you're in and out of there in less than a minute. So you are so right about squeezing the sponge of every second you have to land atmosphere, to shift atmosphere, to differentiate yourself among the competition. So kudos to you both on your journey.
Thank you.
Again, God bless you, and I wish you the most success, continued success in your endeavors. Hearing your stories has been nothing but inspiring for me. So thank you for spending some time.
Thank you. It's
Kevin.
been wonderful meeting you, Kevin.
Oh, likewise.
It's an honor.
I'll see you again, I hope.
And I will
hope so.
always be your student, just so you know, always. So I
Thank
wasn't
you,
a former student, I will always be your student.
Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Thank you. And thank you to all my viewers out there for watching. I hope you are feeling inspired. I'm feeling very inspired. And if you're so inspired you want to take an acting class or take a screenwriting class, send me an email, kevin@lassett.com, or you can visit my website, lassett.com. And all these classes, again, are held right here at this beautiful studio, the Sandwich Television Community Station, right here in Sandwich and Cape Cod. So don't be a stranger. Until then, keep watching those movies, keep watching those television shows and commercials, and I'll see you again at the Actors Studio of Cape Cod. Thanks.